The week's end top stories at NBR. COVID-19 puts paid to Pricewise. Hum sells for $360 million. Seeker's full-year profit drops 2%, and there's more coming right up. Kia ora and welcome to NBR This Week, 100% subscriber funded and proudly brought to you by you, as is every story at nbr.co.nz. Time for Friday's top business stories and a look back over the week's top stories from our daily video business news bulletin, NBR Today. It's Friday, February 18th. I'm Paul Brennan. Thanks for joining us. COVID-19 has put paid to attempts by Polar Capital to turn the cut-price beauty brand Pricewise around. Yesterday morning, Thursday morning, liquidator Kenneth Brown of BDO and Tauranga was appointed by a special resolution of shareholders to look into the company's financial affairs. Contacted by NBR, Brown said there wasn't much he could say at this early stage, but the cause of the collapse of the business appeared to be COVID-19 and a lack of profitability, all leading to cash flow issues, resulting in the directors making the decision to liquidate. ASX-listed Buy Now, Pay Later and credit card provider Hum Group has entered a binding agreement to sell its consumer business to consumer loan specialist Latitude Financial for Australian $335 million. The deal confirms a non-binding proposal announced on January 6th. When Hum first revealed approaches in December, news of the potential deal pushed its shares up 25% to Australian 91 cents. The deal is subject to approval from New Zealand's Commerce Commission, Overseas Investment Office and Reserve Bank. NZX-listed kiwifruit business Seeker's full-year profit dropped 2%, while underlying earnings saw a marked improvement on the previous year. It posted a profit for the year ended December 31st of $14.9 million, down on $15.2 million in the year prior, while revenue rose 23% to $309.6 million and EBITDA rose 32% to $56.8 million. Profit before tax was up 44% to $23.5 million. Chief Executive Michael Frank said improvement in the 2021 financial performance came from a deliberate strategy to significantly improve Seeker's underlying operating earnings. Sky TV said this morning, Friday morning, it had secured the rights to England's Premier League football in the coming 2022-23 season, striking a blow for competitor Spark Sport. Spark had wrestled the rights for the content of the EPL from Sky in advance of the 2019-20 season, building off history with Coliseum Sports Media to bring the 2013-14, 2014-15 and 2015-16 seasons to New Zealanders via its online streaming service. But today, Friday, Sky announced it had wrestled back the 6-year deal for an undisclosed sum, with Chief Executive Sophie Maloney saying she was delighted with the outcome. The full details of those stories and more are at nbr.co.nz right now. I'm Paul Brennan. This is NBR This Week. A look back now at the week's top NBR business stories from our daily video business news bulletin, NBR Today. From Monday, Vector versus construction company court case. A forensic accountant has been the first person called to the digital witness box at the High Court in Auckland this morning, Monday morning, as Vector continues a long-running legal fight against companies and parties that cannot be named over allegations of fraudulent behaviour more than a decade ago. The listed energy distributor has taken its fight against a construction company and two of that company's employees all the way to the High Court, even though the money it believed was dishonestly obtained in the subcontracting process has been paid back, and the unnamed company is now in liquidation and its parent company restructured. It's NBR This Week, the top 5 business stories from NBR's daily video news bulletin, NBR Today. From Tuesday, AI company secures $70 million. Kiwi AI company Soul Machines has secured US $70 million in a Series B1 financing round led by SoftBank's Vision Fund 2. Founded in 2016 by serial tech entrepreneur Greg Cross and Academy Award winner Mark Sager, the company said it will use the investment to continue to grow in the enterprise market, focusing on its deep tech research on its digital brain technology and launching the future of digital entertainment for the metaverse with hyper-realistic digital twins of real-life celebrities. The latest round of funding brings total investment in the company to US $135 million. It's NBR This Week, the week's top business stories from NBR's daily video bulletin, NBR Today. From Wednesday, Fletcher shares bounce. Shares in Fletcher Building gained as much as 6% on heavy Wednesday morning trading after the construction and building products conglomerate reported strong first-half results with an upbeat assessment of its outlook. By 1 o'clock Wednesday, the shares were at $6.63, up from $6.28 at Tuesday's close. Turnover for the morning was $15.2 million. Jarden Equity Research Director Grant Swanepoel said the result was a positive surprise, with earnings and dividend both above forecasts. The company also raised its interim dividend by 50% to 18 cents a share. It's NBR This Week, the top 5 business stories from NBR Today. From Thursday, Silver Lake deal signed. New Zealand Rugby has approved a $200 million partnership deal with Silver Lake, giving the US private equity firm a smaller stake than earlier proposals. The deal, structured as a $200 million investment in a new commercial entity, NZR Commercial Co., which will house all revenue-generating assets of New Zealand Rugby, values the new entity at $3.5 billion. The investment will be made in the form of a perpetual convertible security at a low interest rate, which can convert into ordinary equity after 3 years. In late 2022, a co-investment will be offered to New Zealand-based institutional investors so that domestic capital can have the opportunity to also participate in the investment. This is NBR This Week. Now we're up to Friday's top story. COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins has given businesses a clear message that it's up to them to manage Omicron infections within their workforces. Hipkins said the country was entering a phase now where everyone had to change the way they thought about COVID-19. People now had to get used to the idea there would be many cases each day. Chris Hipkins joined NBR political editor Brent Edwards.
So really the way we need to think about it is someone who's got COVID-19 is potentially a risk to others, and so we want to have them out of circulation whilst they recover. And their most immediate contacts, the people most likely to get it from them, so their household contacts, the people who they are living with, we also want to remove the risk or isolate the risk from them as much as we can.
COVID Response Minister Chris Hipkins. And following that interview being published at NBR, the Ministry of Health contacted Kiwi importer Gillian Berryman to say her application for importing Genshur rats had failed after a full technical review. Yesterday, Thursday, around midday, after weeks of hearing nothing, Berryman had received an email from MOH advising that her rat application for Genshur would likely take more than 5 weeks to process. 24 hours later, shortly after her story appeared on NBR, came a letter saying although Genshur met the MOH minimum criteria, in a full technical review it had been rejected. New Zealand is the only country in the world so far that has rejected Genshur rats for use. Full details of those stories and more are at nbr.co.nz right now. This weekend at NBR, In Fact or Fiction, Brent Edwards and Grant Walker debate the political response to the protest. And Neville Gibson reviews a book by a New Zealand futurist and entrepreneur explaining how you can learn to cope. I'm Paul Brennan. Thanks for watching and listening to NBR This Week. Have a great weekend and join me again from Monday around lunchtime for the morning's NBR trending stories, then again from around 5:30 for another NBR Today.